Yo, yo, yo. It is Sunday. I don't know how I feel about Sunday. It's an ominous day. It means Monday is coming, but it's still a day off. It's one of those things where you got to really be zen with the moment, you know? Be chill. Be happy with where you are. Don't worry about where you're going to go. It's a beautiful day, too, here in northeastern Ohio. It's going to be in the 60s. It's March 21st, and it's going to be in the 60s. Woo! Yeah. Let me send out some notifications. Why not? How the heck are you, party people? Are you good? I know a lot of you would rather I be over on Facebook, but I don't know, man. That's a dirty, sleazy place, the Facebook. Joyce! Robin and Joyce, what is up? I love it. I'm so glad you're here. I just feel like Facebook, and I add to the anguish. Linda, how are you? Happy spring. Thank you for being over here. That's so sweet. Spring, one of the great seasons. There's only 4 of them. They're all pretty good. Ryan, all power to the people. I can't stay long. Ryan, I'm so pleased that you say that. It actually leads into the show nicely. We just need to wake up to the fact that freedom for all, justice and freedom for all. What is it? How does it say? How does it go? Justice and freedom for all. I got to get with it. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag with liberty and justice for all. That's the one. Can you not watch this on Facebook anymore, says Naomi? I am going... Look, so here's the thing. Good morning, Naomi. It's so wonderful that you're here. Facebook and I are at odds. I can't say anything nice about white people over at Facebook anymore. I can say anything about how white people suck on Facebook. They love that. And I can say how great black people are, gay people are, brown people are, Native Americans. But if I say any... oh, you don't like people knowing your name. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Oh, I see. Oh, yes. Omi. I got it. If I say anything positive about a white I got shut down on Facebook for 24 hours. It's so good to see you, Omi. It's so good to see you. This is what I said. I said, power to white people, power to red people, power to yellow people, power to brown people, power to black people. All power to all the people. And then that was it. And I knew it was because I said it to the white people. You can't say that. That is considered white supremacy. If you have the audacity to say something along the lines of white people are awesome and power to white people, you are a racist. You can't ever say that anymore. And the deal is, that's wrong. Being pro-race is not anti another race. Now, sometimes that does happen. Sometimes you do find people that love to just bash on other races. And to them, I say, worry about yourself. A black person is not ruining your life. A politician is ruining your life. A bourgeoisie controller of all production is ruining your life. But a black person ain't ruining your life. Mexicans aren't ruining your life. Chinese people aren't ruining your life. Asian people aren't ruining your life. Get it straight. It's politicians and corporations that are ruining your life. Okay? They try to convince you that it's the black people, that it's it's the Mexicans at your border. We need a class analysis. We do need to understand class, Ryan. We know who ruins your life. Yeah, you know, yeah. Do you know that the battle for $15 an hour has been going on for 10 years? 10 years. And they're now talking about, well, maybe 11. Maybe we can do 11. 15 was what we needed to live 10 years ago. Are you seeing gas prices? They're going up. Now, it's me. I'm the one that's ruined my life. I would say we do self-sabotage ourselves. I think that is true. But the system itself ultimately is what I think is it's the design of it all that favors white middle-class men and unfavors everyone else, including white middle-class women. You don't make this much money. You're not making as much money. You know that's true. How many times has Congress salary been raised in those 10 years? Great question. Or city council at in Akron, for that matter. The mayor's salary is like something like $170,000, okay? And the median income is like $38,000. How can that be? What does he do? He has an entire cabinet. He doesn't do anything. He cuts some ribbons and stands in front of a camera. Neuroplasticity. Ooh, that's good. That's a good word. We got to know who the enemy is. And the enemy is not a black guy. The enemy isn't your average white guy. The enemy isn't a Mexican, isn't an Asian, isn't a Chinese person. It's the corporations and the government officials that empower them. If I spelled it wrong, but neuroplasticity has ruined my life also. All right, well, let's find out what I think I know what you're talking about. Neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity. Is this what you're talking about, Omi? Also known as neuroplasticity, or brain plasticity, is the ability to neural networks of the brain to change through growth and reorganization. These changes range from individual neuron pathways making new connections to systemic adjustments like cortical remapping. They only spend $685,000 on homeless programs a year and only $150,000 on homeless prevention. They spend $100,000 annual operating costs plus $42,000. Yeah. Muscle memory for the brain. Yeah, so you are talking about neuroplasticity. And that is true, right? Neuroplasticity becomes more difficult the older you get, I think. Doesn't it? I mean, I'm certainly not an expert on it. But being flexible of the mind is critical. We all have the ability to do it. However, a lot of times we allow ourselves to get stagnant and get, just stuck. Muscle memory So Ryan says also zoning, aka modern day redlining of all East End and Middleburg. One in Akron has rent has gone up 55% to 2000, while income only 29%. Yeah. So one of the things I like about homeless people is it's a cause to unite around. You have to be pretty much a total dick or not even that. You have to be kind of a moron to think that we shouldn't do anything about homelessness, that what we got going on right now is fine. In fact, I believe I can unite with people that hate homeless people in the fact that they want them off the street. I want them off the street. We got everything in common. We are forcing people to live in the woods without sanitation devices, without trash, without any kind of structure or organization. And by the way, they want it. The number one thing every homeless person complains to me about is stealing in the camps. They're sick of it. You went to Florida? What? We were supposed to stop in Georgia to sleep before. Oh my gosh. You rock. You are like my hero. You are awesome. I'm so glad you're in Florida. Aw, that's so lovely. I hope you're having a lovely time. You should go to Miami because, man, it is hopping down in Miami. I decided to drive as far as possible and stop at midnight and get a room. Well, it's around Daytona. Couldn't find one room in Florida. Yeah, I think it's really hot right there. I was reading the news and said that, it's packed. I tried to get my family to go down to Florida for spring break. They're not spring breakers. I am. We stopped at a rest area that said they had nighttime security. Oh, good. Did you rest there a little bit? It's interesting you bring that up because right before the show, an older lady messaged me and said, do you know anywhere I can sleep in my car in Akron? And every time it was packed, so many cars. I started wondering how many were people in the situation, how many were living in their cars. Yeah. Right, Omi. That's exactly right. So what we had, this one woman is asking me where can she sleep in her car, and I have no answer for her because it is illegal to sleep in your car. There is no place you can sleep in your car. Now, you can potentially go to a Walmart, but why does Walmart have to shelter the homeless people? Why is it that the businesses have to take care of these people, which they so often do? I bet the intercommunity, I like that word, Brian, the intercommunity theft would go down if they had a sanctioned community as the way of the purpose-based community healing. Yes, I believe that. And then Omi says, but it's cool. They have actual sheriffs patrolling, keep them safe instead of telling them. That's wonderful, actually. So, there was a story, Jim that lived at, Jim Nolan, who lived at our tent village. He has a story that he left for weeks. He had somewhere to go, some family thing. He left for weeks and came back to his tent and not one thing was touched. The difference between a sanctioned village and an unsanctioned village are worlds apart. Because an unsanctioned village, homeless people know that there are no rules. And so they do whatever they want. And they know that eventually they're going to get kicked out. And so it becomes this lawless hellscape. That's why you need sanctioned villages. Because you come in, a village can have any kind of rules you want. You can have drug-free, alcohol-free if you want. And I think if you were going to start one, you should certainly start it that way. It's very challenging to have a wet camp. I've done it with some houses and not well at all. But I was blown away by all the hipsters and activity directly surrounded by homeless and tents on the Devil Strip Yes. So interestingly, we went to a skate park in Asheville. Wow, that's so awesome. It is a fight or flight when you are surviving. Yeah. So they were rich, clean people riding expensive, their AirPods. That's cool. Drinking craft beers. Yes, indeed. So the deal is that we are living in we have homeless people, okay? We have people that are living in their cars and in tents and shelterless. It exists. But our government believes that it shouldn't exist, okay? Like they have been told by homeless service providers that this is not, these people are just, they don't like rules and they don't want to, they just want to do whatever they want, which is completely, absolutely wrong. Look, if you have a dog, you cannot go to a shelter. It's easy. If you want to stay with your significant other, you cannot go to a shelter. It's easy. These are not hard to understand concepts. So then they say, well, yeah, see, they don't like rules, Sage. They don't like rules. They need to, get serious. They need to get rid of their dog. They need to suck it up. And look, you have no idea what you're talking about. If you have lost everything in your life and the only thing you have is your dog or your significant other, you are most certainly not going to give them up because you've lost everything else. They're all you have. If you don't understand that, you don't understand what a human being is. You don't understand who you would be in that situation. And so what I think is us uniting around an issue like homelessness can bring many people. And to a point that was here that people were talking about, I'm now working with, I'm getting the wonderful opportunity to start working with some communists and some anarchists, and I've been working with the evangelicals, and it's wonderful. And they both bring really interesting perspectives to the fight against homelessness. What I'm really loving about the communists is how organized they are. They're wonderful. They are looking to organize. They are looking to create a movement, a kind of revolution. I love it. But the thing I love about the evangelicals is their deep, deep love. I mean, it is so amazing. And I did start this show saying I want to talk about sex in the church, which we need to talk about. I mean, potentially, I think we'll have time to talk about that. But the people that I find that are evangelicals, the people of evangelical churches, not the leadership of evangelical churches, the people are some of the most beautiful, heartfelt people I have ever met in my life. They blow me away. And so there, Ryan says something. Liberation ideology for revolutionary Christians is amazing. Yeah. Oh no, you're not able to sleep because 36 hours of no sleep. Oh yeah, that's rough. That's rough. 21 church services a week required. Yes. So Ryan is 100% right. There are 21 church services required at the Haven of Rest. If you want breakfast, you pray. If you want lunch, you pray. If you want dinner, you pray. If you want bed, you go to church. If you want clothes, you go to church. Dr. Cornel West, interesting guy. I've been seeing a little. Jesus was a Palestinian Jewish communist who was killed for chasing the taxpayers out of the church, period. Killed over capitalism. And incidentally, he also hung out with the tax collectors. Love that guy. Here, I'm going to show that. I don't know why it was hidden. I don't know why that was a hidden comment. So there is a lot to be learned from communists. And the hierarchy of needs, Omi says. Yeah, I know. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Do you guys know it? Let's just refresh our memory. Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Let's go look at this really quickly. So let's take an image. This is a fine one. Let's see if I can make it bigger. This is good. Okay, so here it is. Maslow, a guy, a guy, smart guy, created this hierarchy of needs. And the general gist is this, that you cannot move above the level you are on currently until you have satisfied that level. Okay? Okay, so what he's saying is, if you are fighting for food, water, warmth, and rest, which incidentally is more important than security and safety, you can do nothing else. You certainly cannot deal with addiction. You cannot deal with your mental health. You cannot deal with a job. All you can deal with is food, water, warmth, and rest. And this is where people are in the unsanctioned village world. And that's why we are dealing with constant theft. Because all they can think about is food, water, warmth, and rest. And the reason they are stuck in that level is because of the government. Because the government does these camp sweeps and has made being homeless illegal. So the woman that I was talking to I haven't even gotten back to her yet, but she wanted to know where to stay. All she's thinking about is, where can I sleep? And I think we sometimes forget that sleep is not an optional activity as a human being. You will die if you do not sleep. You must sleep, just like you must breathe and you must eat. You must sleep. Not optional. Not optional. Okay? And so we have this situation where you can see very clearly why there is stealing in the camps. Because all they're focused on is water, food, and warmth and rest. And they don't have, and they're worried that they're going to be thrown out of the place that they're not legally allowed to be. Because where homeless people are is illegal. They're on government land illegally. They're on private property illegally. And so they can't think of that kind of thing. But when you have a sanctioned camp, you say, here is food, water, warmth, and rest. You are welcome here. You are able to stay here. And then you can layer in security and safety. Only then. Only then. Do you understand? This is why unsanctioned camps are abhorrent, are a human rights crime. I am telling you, city governments should be hauled before international tribunals for the crimes against humanity they are committing against their homeless citizens. I'm not over-exaggerating this. They don't have to be this way. They choose to make it this way. They choose to torture homeless people because they don't like them. Do you see? Yeah, right. So, well, people have sex, Omi, all the time for rest. They do it constantly. I couldn't make any kind of decision. Let's see here. So many great comments, guys. I have never experienced not having my needs met, and it was life-changing, even over a short period of time when I knew my needs would be met in 12 hours. There you go. You can experience homelessness in a 24 or 12-hour period. If you can't sleep, if you don't feel safe, if you have nowhere to go, you are experiencing what homeless people experience. Now, the compounding traumatic experience of doing it for weeks and months and years is additive, but you absolutely can get that feeling. The prison industrial complex, says Ryan, and war on drugs are directly involved in part of the cycles of oppression on the poor. Absolutely. We must absolutely come to the realization and truth that the government hates poor people. Absolutely, positively hates. Look at what they're doing in Akron. They're cutting down nature to put in $200,000 and $300,000 houses down in the valley. Not to put houses for low-income people. They don't want low-income people. What they're doing is they're tearing down houses in low-income neighborhoods, which makes a deficit of housing and pushes the cost of rent up, creates homelessness, and ideally gentrifies as much of the city as possible to get poor people out of it. In a city that has 26% poverty of all people and 40% poverty of the kids. Akron has 40% poverty of kids. 2,000 kids report to be homeless every year in the Akron City school system. 2,000! And they don't care. All they're focusing on are roundabouts, high income or expensive housing that, by the way, they get 15 years free taxes, okay? And parks. They don't care about the poor people because the poor people are a deficit to them. They are a negative. Poor people scare away rich people. That's why rich people went to the suburbs. And may I say, poor people equals black people. They all know that black people scare suburban white people. White flight. And so, absolutely, Akron is pulling racist shit because they don't like specifically poor black people. Okay? Now, the wealthy black people that play along and don't say anything, they're okay. Which is Marco Somerville, incidentally. The guy that makes over $130,000 in the cabinet, also owns his name is on a place where you take people that are dead, a funeral home. He's got a funeral home and he makes well over $100,000. I don't know what he does, but that's the kind of black guy they like. That just goes along and doesn't, say anything about the oppression. I mean, Margot Somerville, who is the president of city council, voted to keep the death penalty. And meanwhile, the death penalty specifically over affects African Americans. So there you go. Black lady saying, nah, we need the death penalty. There you go. So that's the kind of black people they like that's the kind of black people they like in Akron, And just a few of them, not a lot. Don't get silly. Mostly white people. Do you know we've never had a black mayor in Akron? Never. 30% of our population's African American, never had a black mayor. We need to share these stories, people. We need to share this kind of stuff. The communists call it propaganda. And sometimes I think the word propaganda has a bad name. The communists like the word propaganda. But the fact of the matter is we must tell these stories. We must tell the stories of how our cities, in my case, my city, Akron, Ohio, is pushing out poor people. We are now, I think we're on our 15th murder this year. All-time high. We're blowing away last year, and last year was our record murders of all time. We're crushing last year. Okay? They don't care. They don't care. They are cool with genocide. They are cool with extermination. They don't care how poor people leave as long as they leave. And if they're going to kill each other, great. If they're going to freeze to death on the streets, great. They don't care. They just blame them. They blame the African Americans. They blame the homeless people. They blame the victims. Somerville have rotted out Akron. Yeah, the cyberlinks and fires are Goodyear Heights. We must seek the truth. And I'm telling you, local politics is where it's at because we can change things locally. And then trickle down does not work, but lifting all boats does work, okay? You start locally, you can make the change. We must get people to run for city council in 2023. There will be a primary in 2023. The best chance you will have is to run as a Democrat in Akron. You run on the primary of May of 2023 for whatever council you want to run for or mayor. I don't know much about Summit County politics, but you can run for council on Summit County. We must get good candidates. We must get candidates that excite us because the reason we have such low voter turnout, which we have abysmal voter turnout in Akron, is because they don't have anybody to vote for. We need you to run. We need all of us to run. Thank you, Joyce. I will not be running for mayor. I may run for city council. May. We have to say the hard truth. I'm telling you, there it is. Ryan, Marco Somerville has ruined Akron. I like it. He certainly hasn't helped black people. 100%. He has not helped black people, and we all know it. He is just sucking off of the tit of the city, wearing those fancy suits, running some funeral home. It's ridiculous. Here, you want to see what people make in Akron? Here, I did a little study. Now, these are 2015 numbers. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So, as of March 11th, 2021, the average annual pay for the mayor of Akron, $171,265,000. Now, I want you to keep in mind this. Down at the bottom. Akron median household income, $38,000, okay? And this I pulled 23.5% poverty, okay? $38,000 median income, okay? Mayor, $171,000. City council members make $34,000. All they have to do is show up from about noon on Monday until maybe 8 p.m. because they might have to work that day. That's it. And they get health insurance. Great health insurance. Chief of Staff, James Hardy, $106,000. This guy right here is all we need. We don't need the mayor. There's no reason for mayor. None. Because we have all these other people. The mayor does nothing. All of these people should be chosen by city council. And city council doesn't need to be 13 people. 7 or 8 would be fine. Deputy Chief of Staff, Annie McFadden, what the hell does she do? What does she fucking do? Eve Belfance, 127. Public Safety, Charles Brown. Here's another African American, 127. I'm pretty sure he's just a bodyguard. I've never seen him talk about public safety. Never. Have you ever heard any of these people talk? Director of Finance, Diane Miller Dawson, 127. Director of Finance. The hell does he do? 116. Economic Development. Couldn't that be the same? Sam here, 127. Jason Segedy, 127. Deputy Planning Director, 116. Here's Marco Somerville, Deputy Mayor for Intergovernmental Affair and Senior Advisor. Token black guy. Should just say token black guy. That's all it is. He was the only black guy for a long time. 127. Public director, service director, 127. Deputy public service director. Look at that. We got a public service director and a deputy public service director. Labor relations, Randy Briggs. What the fuck has he done? Neighborhood assistance, John Valley. He just retired, 127. Directors of communications. What is that? 106. Chief information officer. Remember when we got hacked? You remember that? They stole all of our data and then just covered it up. Did you ever hear anything about that? No, 106. Assistant to the mayor for education, Terry Albanese, 106. Ever heard about Terry? Ever heard from Terry? Assistant to the mayor of community relations, Billy Soul, 74. Works part-time. $74,000. We have $975 million in debt. We pay every year $43 million to service that debt. That's just the interest rate. Okay? $43 million. It is corrupt to the hilt. These are all just friends of these people, and you've never heard from them. When have you heard from any of these people? They're supposed to be doing all this shit, and they don't do anything. Yeah, Ryan's right. Segedy and Hardy are primary gentrification cheerleaders. That's it. That's right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, Luddle is Mayor Horrigan's brother-in-law and just keeps getting raises. Just keeps getting raises. All right. Yeah, I know. It's disgusting. Akron is disgusting. It is all corrupt to the core, rotten to the core, and that's why we need you. You, run your dog, okay? I'm thinking about running my dog for mayor. Because we need, anything will be better than what we have. Because what these people do is what fucking cartels do, okay? This is what goes on in third world corrupt countries. I'm not making it up. I'm not overblowing this shit. Tammany Hall, yes. But Margot Somerville, yes, Margot Somerville does want a PR company. That's right, because it's getting hairy out there because the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. They all suck. All right, look. We got to, the only way we change is we get on the ballot. The next time is May of 2023. You need to run as a Democrat because there are so many brain-dead people that just tick the D. They just tick the D. Same with Republicans. Most people these days aren't voting for anybody with integrity or values. They just have been taught to hate the other party. That's how the parties are running right now. Who knows what we believe in except for the fact that that other party sucks. If you want to die and rot and suffocate on no oxygen, vote for Republicans. If you want to be a socialist communist, vote for Democrats. And every socialist communist knows that's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen. I mean, the last thing a Democrat is socialist or communist. But the Republicans have convinced their people that they are. They don't even know what it is. They don't even know what socialism and communism is. We must. Okay, Ryan makes a good point. You can call in and leave voicemails. We can change our city. We can make the change. It's much harder at the state level and the national level, but it is doable. It is doable at the local level. And I'm telling you, you do it at the primary because no one votes except for us. We will unite the people and we will bring out the vote in May of 2023. I will take communists. I will take evangelicals. I will take Black Panthers. I'll take KKK members. We need to reunite the Rainbow Coalition because there is only one enemy, and the enemy are all of these people in our government. They are the enemy. Not your white brothers and sisters, not your black brothers and sisters. We all want the same thing. We want a place to have a decent job, to have integrity and dignity, and a place to safely raise our families. That's it. And are they providing that? No, because we have the highest murder rate ever. They're failing. We must unite. I am going to recommend that we start having concerts, everybody. I got some land behind my building where I think we could have some really cool, raging parties. I don't know if you have to call somebody to have a party in your backyard. I don't really know. We'll find out. Coronavirus, we're on the other side. We must come together. We must come together, and we must talk about the truth and the facts, and we must share the propaganda that is the fact that our government does not help us. They only help rich people. They only help rich people. They must go. And we can do it through democracy. We can do it through uniting. We can. We can do it. When they called in about the new housing in Valley, the media listened even when politicians, yeah. And I'll tell you what, I recommend, if you can afford it, to buy a subscription to the Akron Beacon Journal. You must, and what is the African-American paper here in Akron? Hold on. African-American newspaper in Akron. The Reporter. Do you guys know the Reporter? You got to get it. You should subscribe to the Akron Beacon Journal. It's just all bourgeois. Most of it's, it's run by the bourgeoisie corporations, but there's information in there that you need to be educated on. The Reporter, African-American paper, you need it. You need to support them. We need the news. Mike Freeman, in Mike Freeman's ward, would you please, Omi, run against Mike Freeman? Evil human. And he does it all under the name of God. We must start a newspaper. Start a communist paper, will you? Somebody? Start a communist paper here in Akron. We must tell the truth. Because I'll tell you what, the Beacon Journal, when they will talk around topics, they will talk about housing, they'll talk about water, but they will never, ever say anything negative against the administration because they're afraid of the administration. As well they should be, because the administration is a corrupt cesspool. We must spread the word of the corruption that is the Dan Horgan and Akron City Council cabal. They are evil. They are the enemy. Shamus Malik chastised me for saying such a thing. It is the truth. They are your enemy. They do not want you here. If you are here to support the people, even if you're wealthy, they don't want you here. They want you to be on board with $200,000 and $300,000 houses. That's what they want. Not supporting people that are below the poverty line. The 20-some% of people below the poverty line in Akron and the 40% of kids below the poverty line. You become their enemy. They have an enemy. It's you. And they know it. They hate you. So why can't, I'm not allowed to say that? Because obviously they're not doing anything to help these people being murdered. Did you see the guy that got burned? I mean, he was killed and then they burned him. They burned his body. The only real ones are Councilman Neal and Samples. Yes, 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 yes. Neal and Samples. Neal and Samples. Definitely Neal. Samples is strong. Yeah. But I'll tell you what. That Russ Neal is to the core full of integrity. That's who I want to run for mayor. But you know what? it's so dangerous to run for mayor if you're a city council member because they've lined up city council and mayor run at the same time. Every 4 years, they run at the exact same time. So, and you can only run for one seat at a time. So, if you run for mayor, you're going to give up your council seat. And so it's a big risk. And they set it up that way on purpose. Yeah, so Omi says she's ultra-religious and she lets that bleed over into her politics. Right on. She'll never get my vote. That's fine. Look, that's fine. We have one solid out of how many? 13 out of 13. Shamus Malik votes right. He is, however, our Aaron Burr. He is strategic all the way. He's trying to move up. And so he's never going to say anything daring or truthful. Everything out of his mouth and every vote for his is strategic. He doesn't have integrity, I don't believe. He's just, he's a Harvard-educated lawyer that is trying to move up the political chain. Opportunist. He is. But he's voting right, so that's okay. I do not recommend running against Shamus Malik. Well, I mean, you should. I mean, you could. You're going to lose because he's got a lot of money. He raised $50,000 by himself in the last council. And that's like Dan Horgan raised a little bit more, but that's a lot. But I don't know how long he's going to be council, He's in Ward 8. We need to get hip to local politics because I'll tell you what, we could legalize marijuana. We could decriminalize all drug use. We could decriminalize sex work. You can do all of that. Did you see what they did? They put a cap on like Uber Eats and all of those guys here. Like you can only do 15% or something like that. You can do whatever you want locally. You can make your city into the place you want it to be. Absolutely you can. Local politics is hot. All right. I do want to talk about sex in the church. Margot Somerville is her own treasurer. Her public records for political funding is really sketchy. Yeah. She should be voted out. I gravitate towards liking her as a person, but yeah. You can't trust those Somervilles. They're opportunists too. They're making tons of money off of the city of Akron. They are. All right, look, do you guys know this story here? I needed to talk about this really quickly. Atlanta suspect's fixation on sex is familiar thorn for evangelicals. So the guy that killed the people in the what are these things? He was like, I don't know, bathhouses or spas or something, including 6 women of Asian descent. Blamed sexual addiction, a disputed term used in parts of evangelical. Now, the reason this is a disputed term, sex addiction, is because it is not a medical term. Okay? If you go down in this article, hold on. Let me see. So, Mr. Long sought treatment for what he describes the police as a sex addiction at Hope Quest, an evangelical treatment center in Ackworth, Georgia, the city where one of the attacks took place. The center advertises its treatment of sex addiction and pornography in addition to drugs, alcohol, and gambling. The center lists indications for sex addiction, including crossing lines of personal beliefs or values in his or her beliefs, and which result in extreme emotional distress and feelings of guilt and shame. The language of addiction is used often in evangelical circles to describe someone who uses pornography and engages in other sexual behavior that violates their own values, but does not necessarily rise to the level of clinical addiction. Sex addiction is not an established psychiatric diagnosis, and there is a debate in the mental health community about how to define and treat compulsive sexual behavior. okay? So I need you, first of all, to be aware of that, okay? I see people on Reddit talking about how they're addicted to pornography, and I always assumed that it was a established psychiatric diagnosis, but it is not. It is a religious designation, okay? And can you see how they trick you? They're like sex addiction of crossing lines of personal beliefs. So this is how they do it. They hammer into you that sex is bad, pornography is bad, and they make you feel terrible about it. And then when you do it, because you're a human being, they're like, oh, you're addicted. You're addicted. They trap you. They absolutely trap you in this, okay? I have many evangelical friends, and I love them. I love them. They are kind, sweet people. Now, the thing about it is, however, that I think they think they're kind and sweet people because they go to evangelical churches. That the church has somehow made them that. That is not the case, in my opinion. They were already kind and sweet people, and they went to the evangelical church to be that. Okay? The church did not make them that. And the church oftentimes will say, how can you have morality if you don't follow the Bible? Because you don't need a book to tell you how to be a decent human being. Okay? But you see, what the book does is it tells you, certain parts of it tell you that being sexual is evil. And furthermore, even Jesus got in on it. Jesus said something like, let me see if I can find it, that you having adulterous thoughts is as bad as having the adultery. Absolutely. Yeah, the reporter. Check it out, Omi. We must stand up for our evangelical brothers and sisters and let them know that sex is not bad. Pornography is not bad. In fact, it can be amazing when done in healthy ways. You know how good it feels. It's relaxing. We, as humans, are constantly fighting our anxieties, our depressions, our bipolar mental states. Mental illness, I believe, is the natural state of being a human. We're freaked out all the time. We're always freaked out. I heard once that there's a theory that we were living up in the trees. We were all living up in the trees. Everybody was cool. And then some mean chimpanzees or apes or somebody pushed us out of the trees, us humans. And they threw us out of the trees. And we obviously would be freaked out totally because now we're on the ground, totally exposed. And then we had to use our brains to, build tools, and then we became the super predator that we are today. So in a way, being thrown out of the trees helped us, look, we cured coronavirus in a year. That's good. That's good. Good us. Good job, us. But I believe that it makes sense. Our anxiety comes from the time those mean apes threw us out of the trees. We're freaked out. We need to do things like exercise, meditate, eat right, and have sex. Jack off all the time. Just, if you chafe, slow down. I was worried when I was a teenager that I was jacking off too much, and I couldn't find a book that would tell me how often it was okay. So I'm here to tell you, as often as you want. Now, if you start, not spending time with your friends, it starts getting, I knew a married guy who, a Christian married guy, who couldn't stop going to strip clubs. I don't know if there's a more appropriate phrase to use those. A dance where, and he would get blowjobs in the back of the VIP room. And to that, I was like, you can get blowjobs in the VIP room? He's like, you didn't know that? I'm like, no. Anyways, that guy had a problem, okay? I do believe that you can be, I think sex can take over your life like anything, like marijuana, meth, opiates. Yeah, gambling. Of course, you need to be mindful of that. That guy needed help. I think he did have a problem with sex, and it was hurting his family. For sure, that can be a thing. You can drink too much water, okay? Everything has the potential of turning negative. Everything. Food. My Lord. Got to go feed those kids. All right. The beach. Omi, have fun. I love you. And you made a baked couch car. I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it, Omi. I cannot wait. So, I'm wrapping up here anyways. I just want you guys to know that you are not bad for wanting sex. I recommend it. I think it's really healthy. And do not let some white minister make you feel bad about wanting sex. Don't. You don't need to worry about that. You're playing your game, okay? If you can handle your meth, okay, by all means, do meth. If you can handle your opiates, by all means, do opiates, okay? People are on Valium and stuff, and doctors prescribe it. If it's fine, you're fine. I think those drugs, although no studies have really meaningfully been done to prove this, I'm just suspecting that those drugs lead into abusive situations a little more readily. They create an addictive. But how about alcohol? I mean, come on, alcohol. Literally, you can die detoxing from alcohol. It's a terrible, terrible drug. But you should do it if you can do it. If it doesn't mess up your life, you don't feel like it's, you're not calling off of work. You're not hurting your friends while you're on it. You're not stopping activities that you used to enjoy for alcohol. Then you're fine. I just want that to be known. You're fine. And I know that in your head you beat yourself up and you talk about what a piece of shit you are and how terrible of a person you are. But deep down, you know you're not. You know you're just a human doing the best you can. You're just struggling to get by on this crazy rock that we're stuck to through the thanks of gravitational waves and pull. Do you understand what gravity is? It's not the center of the earth. It's like literally like this. It's amazing. Like you're just stuck, You're fine, okay? Go have sex. Go smoke a doobie. Go have sex and then smoke a doobie or smoke a doobie. Go do it. Enjoy your life. Stop letting white men tell you how to run your life. They don't know shit. All they want is things to stay the same. And that's how they do it, is to make you feel bad. Never listen to another white man again. After this, I'm white. Now never listen to me again. Because I am a race traitor. I've been called a race traitor. To that, I'm like, thank God. My race is really shitty. Really shitty. We have a lot of work to do as white men. You think about Christopher Columbus. You think about the Trail of Tears. You think about homelessness. You think about poverty, slavery, And then all the stuff you can't even keep track of that white men are doing overseas, American white men. It's us that have the work to do, not the black people, not the people loving sex, not the drug addicts. We created the system in which all of that stuff becomes like a necessity because the hellhole that is the United States of America is too much to deal with. And it's white guys like me that need to fix it. You guys shouldn't have to do a damn thing. You should just sit around watching white guys like me try and figure this shit out, figure it out the right way. But for all that you that do help, thank God for you. I love you. You're amazing. Have a wonderful day. If you're at a beach, oh my God, what a blessing. If you're in northeastern Ohio and it's going to be mid-60s today and sunny, what a blessing. Be thankful for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. You don't want it anyways. Ask the Buddhists. I love you. I love you. I love you. I will see you later.